Build a life worth living. 360 success. 360 success.
Welcome back to 360 Success Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ryan Knight. Today, we're digging into something that sounds simple, but it's not. It's the idea that living by a standard and truth is far more powerful, more transformational than simply choosing a side. And in a world that seems to thrive on sides, left versus right, this group versus that group, this belief system versus that one, we've got to ask, what are we standing on? Because if we're not anchored to something deeper than tribal loyalty, then what are we really building our lives on? Let's start here. Let's start with a margin for truth. You can't build a trustworthy life without a standard, a margin for truth. There has to be a plumb line. Let's use a metaphor. When architects draw up a building, they use margins, measurements, things that are non-negotiable. They don't eyeball it and hope for the best. There's a standard. Why? Because lives depend on that building holding its form. Now imagine your character, your reputation, your ability to lead and influence. Imagine that being the structure. If there's no fixed standard, if you just go with what's convenient or emotionally satisfying in the moment, how strong is that foundation? The truth is, we all need a margin for truth in our lives. Not opinion, not preference, but truth. That kind of foundation doesn't ask, whose side are you on? It asks, what's the right thing, regardless of side? See, there's a problem with sides. It's easy to get stuck into sides because it gives us a sense of belonging or a sense of identity. And there's nothing wrong with belonging unless that belonging comes at the cost of integrity. Here's what happens when we default to sides. We excuse bad behavior because they're on our team. We demonize people that we've never even spoken to because they're quote unquote them. We stop asking questions. We stop thinking critically. We become more loyal to the narrative than to the truth. You know what's harder but far more powerful? Living by principle, living with integrity, speaking the truth in love, even when it's inconvenient or misunderstood. Because sides change, sides shift, but truth doesn't. Now let's talk about something that gets real for all of us. Intentions. We love our intentions. I meant to call. I intended to follow up. I was going to be there. But here's the problem. Intentions don't build up trust. Impact does. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you're writing your spouse or partner this beautiful, heartfelt message. It could be a text or a letter or whatever. You pour your heart into it. You're vulnerable. It's full of love, appreciation, maybe even an apology or words they've been longing to hear. And then you forget to hit send. You meant to, you intended to, but what did they receive? Nothing. That right there is the difference between intent and impact. Your intentions might have been pure. They may have been loving. They may have been sincere, but your impact was silence, disconnection, maybe even hurt. This doesn't just happen in relationships. It happens in leadership, in parenting, happens in friendships, in how we serve or lead teams. If we're not aware of the gap between what we meant to do and what we actually did, we will unintentionally create distance, confusion, and even mistrust. Impact is what people live with. Intent is what we wish they had felt. So here's the challenge. Let's stop leaving good things unsent. Let's close the gap between who we hope to be and what people actually experience when they're around us. So what does it look like to live with integrity and truth over sides? It looks like listening with curiosity before labeling someone. Being the same person in private that you are in public. Owning mistakes without deflecting. No, I meant that, but this, or yeah, buts. No yeah, buts. Letting your yes be yes and your no be no. Making decisions not based on what's popular, but on what's right. It also looks like this. Choosing to have a hard conversation instead of ghosting someone. Correcting a friend instead of enabling them. Admitting, I got it wrong, instead of scrambling to protect your image. That's not glamorous. That's what builds trust. That's the kind of character that makes us better humans. So why does this matter? Let's put it all together. In a culture obsessed with choosing sides, choosing virtue is an act of courage. Choosing truth, real grounded, anchored truth, is rare. But rare things are valuable. So here's the challenge. Don't just ask, whose side am I on? Ask instead, what standard of truth am I living by? Don't just say, I meant to do whatever, show up, follow through, hit send. Let your impact match your intent. Let your impact match your values, because people don't remember our intentions nearly as much as they remember how we made them feel. They remember whether they could trust us, whether they felt safe, whether we told the truth when it counted, whether we lived lives they could depend on. So let's choose to live by margin of truth. Let's be people of substance, not just performance. Let's build trust, not just with words, but with consistency. And let's aim for impact over intent. Hey, thanks for listening today. If this episode challenged you or brought someone to mind, please take 30 seconds and send it their way. Let's keep building a community rooted in integrity, not sides. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.